The Sultanate of Oman television, first the headlines. The Ministerial Preparatory Committee for the Gulf Economic and Development Affairs Authority discusses in Salalah the governance of economic work. Oman Investment Authority investments in the US-based company Our Next Energy in the fields of energy storage and battery manufacturing in the Sultanate of Oman. And the workshop on leadership and motivation discusses creating incentives supporting change and digital innovation. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva of the Federative Republic of Brazil on the occasion of his country's National Day. The Standing Preparatory Committee at the ministerial level of the GCC Economic and Development Affairs Authority held the fifth meeting of it in Salalah today. The draft agenda of the meeting included a number of important topics, foremost of which are the decisions issued by the GCC Supreme Council at its 43rd session held in December 2022 to achieve economic unity. The ministers also reviewed the proposal of the Secretariat General on the governance of the joint Gulf Economic and Development actions, in addition to the latest updates in the action plan for building the Gulf Economic Model and its mechanism, along with the proposed time frame. In addition, the meeting reviewed the outputs and recommendations of the future integration prospects in the economic and development fields of the GCC countries. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Dr. Saeed bin Mohammed Al-Saqri, Minister of Economy. Oman Investment Authority, OIA, announced its investment in the US-based company Our Next Energy 1, which specializes in the innovative battery technology for electric vehicles and energy storage. This step comes in continuation of OIA's efforts to diversify its international investment portfolio and achieve optimal benefit for Oman in terms of return on investments and sustainable investments that align with Oman's commitment to net zero emissions by the year 2050. As part of the investment, OIA and ONE signed a strategic collaboration agreement to explore potential areas of collaboration in energy storage and battery manufacturing in Oman. This investment comes on the heels of other investments made by OIA in the energy transition field. This includes investments in Essence Elements, which specializes in recycling lithium-ion batteries, and Group 14, which specializes in manufacturing innovative silicon carbonate battery materials to replace traditional graphite materials used in lithium-ion batteries. Injaz Oman Foundation celebrated the conclusion of the company program and competition for the year 2023. The ceremony was held at Oman Convention and Exhibition Center under the patronage of His Highness Sayyid Malik bin Shihab bin Tariq Al Said. More details in the following report.
A night full of anticipation by the students participating in the final round of Injaz Oman Company program and competition, an initiative that provides vital programs contributing to the development of Omani talent from school and higher education levels, empowering and enriching their creative and leadership capabilities, in addition to preparing them optimally to enter the labor market with confidence or even create their own business ventures.
entrepreneurship requires students at universities, high schools, to learn the skills of the private sector. So it's very important for them, on top of their education, to get the skills of the private sector. And that's what we do. We have a special curriculum, and we use the private sector to teach the students.
شركة يونيتار الطلابية.
All hearts were beating as the results were brought forward and the final announcements of them were shared. The best student company went to Unity, which will represent the Sultanate of Oman in Injaz al-Arab regionally. Winners of the best sustainable product was Nadira Student Company. Best innovative product went to Penicillin Student Company, and Senad Company won the best elevator speech. Finally, Gulfa won the best visual advertising company. Feelings of happiness and joy were visibly seen in the winners of this version.
First of all, I want to thank every one of them and everyone who ever supported us. I feel so proud and that we finally accomplished this. And I mean, it didn't happen overnight. We worked for this and we knew that we would get here someday.
I'm not coming today to prove which is better, me or other company. Because other people have different studies in life. I doesn't believe one person integrity is worth more than others. I hope the Norwegians start to respect each other.
Our company's name is Hayal. We are specialized in making degradable fishing lines using trees that Sultanate of Oman trying to eradicate. That will help the ecosystem of Sultanate of Oman in the sea or also in the land.
It's noteworthy to mention that 15 student companies from universities and colleges across the country, alongside of 3 companies from schools category, all qualified to compete for awards in the final evaluation, based on multiple criteria, including communication skills, teamwork, and problem solving, in addition to strategic planning, implementation, financial management, product development, marketing strategies, and sales. 15 companies from universities and colleges here within the Sultanate of Oman, alongside of 3 student companies from school level. All of them together made it to the final stage of Injaz Oman competition called The Company, to make themselves, their families and the country proud of them. For Oman TV, Ahmed bin Hilal al-Busaidi, Muscat.
The Environment Authority organized a workshop to follow up on the implementation of the management plan for the National Natural Park Reserve in Musandam Governorate. The workshop included the presentation of a number of environmental working papers about the reserve, which dealt with the various programs that have been implemented within the reserve's management plan, including conservation, survey and monitoring programs, ecotourism programs, awareness and media programs. In addition to environmental monitoring programs, education programs, projects of the Environmental Monitoring Office, the Environmental Emergency Center, and the Environmental Conservation Office, and approved projects for the year 2024. The results of the field surveys were reviewed by the technical team. The workshop was held under the auspices of His Excellency Sayyid Ibrahim bin Saeed al-Busaidi, Governor of Musandam. The 57th preparatory meeting for the Undersecretaries of the Ministries of Commerce and the 43rd preparatory meeting of the Undersecretaries of the Ministries of Industry for the Cooperation Council for the Arab States of the Gulf were held in Salalah. Their Excellencies, the Undersecretaries, discussed a number of topics in the preparatory meeting of the Commercial Cooperation Committee, including addressing the challenges of intra-GCC trade, facilitating trade exchange, and reviewing the latest developments in the commercial laws. Meanwhile, the 43rd preparatory meeting of the industry under secretaries in the GCC countries discussed finding a unified definition for the Gulf national product and its standards and the executive regulations for the Unified Industrial Organization law system. The meeting reviewed the proposal to establish an electronic information platform concerned with the Gulf industrial projects and other joint projects to be a database that makes it easier for investors to access information in the industrial sector. Meanwhile, the 39th meeting of the Committee of Their Excellencies Senior Municipal Officials of the GCC countries discussed visions and proposals of the member countries on the strategy of the joint Gulf municipal work and decisions related to urban development. The meeting was chaired by the Sultanate of Oman and discussed the importance of activating Gulf Building Code in the municipalities of the GCC countries, in addition to developing legislations and means of municipal control. The meeting also dwelt on the importance of reviewing drafts of reference guides, which bring together systems and regulations of municipal work at the GCC countries. The meeting affirmed the necessity of continuing coordination of the field of strategic urban planning. The Sultanate of Oman delegation was chaired by His Excellency Mohammed bin Sulaiman Al Kindi, Governor of North Al Batina, through video conference. Still to come on News Bulletin. The shrimp fishing season starts today in the coastal areas of the Sultanate of Oman. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The sessions of the 5th edition of the training program on the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women (CEDAW) began. The program, implemented by the Ministry of Social Development in cooperation with the Higher Institute for the Judiciary over 2 days, 60 judges, members of the public prosecution, and legal specialists from various authorities participate in it. The opening was presided over by Her Excellency Dr. Leila bint Ahmed Al-Najjar, Minister of Social Development, head of the committee to follow up on the implementation of the agreement. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth organized a socialized workshop in the Dhahira Governorate to formulate the national strategy of the youth. The workshop, which witnessed the participation of over 60 male and female youths, touched on the youth sector and the most prominent projects and proposals that meet their future aspirations in the fields of education, futuristic skills, and economic empowerment. The Ministry of Transportation, Communications and Information Technology held today a workshop to accelerate government digital transformation. The event was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Amr Al-Shidani, Undersecretary of the Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology for Communications and Information Technology. We have more details in the following report.
The role of leadership in enabling digital transformation, creating incentives that support digital change and innovation, in addition to the most important global trends in advanced technologies and monitoring areas of their application in the government sector, topped the discussions of the workshop organized by the Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology to accelerate government digital transformation.
This workshop came as part of the digital transformation program that are under the supervision of MTCIT, and in collaboration with Gartner. Gartner is one of the leaders in ICT sector across the globe. Also, this is part of one of the enablers of the program, the Digital Transformation Program, and it focuses more on enabling the leaders in the government agencies on digital era, as well as having an exposure of the best practices across the organizations on enabling digital transformation on different levels on the government agencies. You're talking about leaders, undersecretaries, ministers, as well as CIOs, CTOs in the government agencies.
The workshop touched on ways through which inspiring leadership manages the culture of change to move institutions towards broader horizons and accelerate the achievement of advanced and comprehensive levels of desired digital transformation in light of global digital trends.
The other side also is to ensure alignment with Oman Vision 2040, because we have a specific pillar and enablers in the Vision 2040, and also we would like through this workshop is to touch base on how can we align the strategies of the sectors, government sectors, within the Oman Vision 2040, as well as the key strategic objectives of the National Digital Transformation Program.
The event also highlighted the importance of joint institutional efforts to accelerate government digital transformation, thus creating a quantum leap in the services provided via a dynamic administrative apparatus that anticipates the future and keeps pace with rapid technological changes. The workshop embodies the ambitious course charted by the Sultanate of Oman to empower human capacities towards a sustainable knowledge-based economy. صالح أبو خلفان الرحبي, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
The shrimp fishing season started today in the coastal areas of the Sultanate of Oman, and it will continue until the end of November. The 3-month shrimp fishing season has an economic value for the artisanal fishermen in the governorates of Al-Wusta, South Al-Sharqiyya, and the Far, where the quantities of shrimps are abundant. Statistics of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth pointed out that the total shrimp production of the Sultanate of Oman in the year 2022 reached around 3,000 tons with a value exceeding 7 million Omani riyals. Around 90% of the total production of shrimp comes from the governorate of Wusta. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Ministerial Preparatory Committee for the Gulf Economic and Development Affairs Authority discusses in Salalah the governance of economic work. Oman Investment Authority invests in the US-based company Our Next Energy in the fields of energy storage and battery manufacturing in the Sultanate of Oman. And a workshop on leadership and motivation discusses creating incentives supporting change and digital innovation. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, thank you for watching and have a good night.